His Keen is absolutely massive. He roamed very well, and he brought high damage and utility to the team fights with Orianna. He went 7-2-7,
yep.
And he had 343 CS. We have some palindromes there.
Yeah, we do.
CS, 7-2-7 score.
Wow, it's all part of the plan. How many games have you entered a game with a perfect palindrome?
Probably pretty little.
Tweet at LoL Esports, hashtag LCS Big Plays, all your palindrome score lines here. I actually want the kills and CS to be one big palindrome. Oh, like I'm 1-1-1 with 111 CS, or 1-2 and 3 with 321 CS.
You could probably get 1-1-1 with 111 CS.
Yeah, I could.
You'd have to like.
You have to end the game pretty early, but you know, it's a way to do it. So Zillion, Rise, Bandwave, Curse Academy. Now the thought I was having during the break as well, I was thinking about like jungle picks that could tilt the mid lane matchup. Heaventime's played it once so far in Challenger. Play the Evelynn, steal it away from St. Vicious, don't ban it. Then you have a chance of camping this mid lane and tilting it in Laud's favor. I think that is the thing that LoL Pro should think about very heavily.
Yeah, the Evelynn is going to get banned away, though, by LoL Pro, because St. Vicious just played such a fearful Evelynn. I talked to some other teams in Challenger, and they're like, yeah, we're not going to let St. Vicious have Evelynn.
Sure. Because
he's just causes way too much map pressure with it, with the Schrodinger pressure, where you're like, I have to buy wards, put them on camps. But Saint, he doesn't stick around in camps when he has Evelynn. He sticks around in the lanes.
Yeah, he does.
You saw it there's Kha'Zix, he sticks around in the lanes.
Yeah. And yet he still managed to farm pretty successfully for himself. Alistair banned away. Maokai then still up on the table, but it's Nunu that actually goes through. That was banned away by Curse Academy. And this is something that LoL Pro really wants to have for themselves. Does leave Maokai for Chris, though. Yeah,
the Zillion being banned away leaves the Nunu up for them. Otherwise, I believe it's completely same bans across the board. Maokai still up.
Yeah.
Yasuo's still up. Kha'Zix still up as well.
Yeah.
So they're going to have their pick of the litter here for Curse Academy. I wouldn't be surprised if they go something like Maokai Kha'Zix.
Pretty strong. Although, to be fair, Chris did...
Well, there is no reason to take Kha'Zix this early, too, unless you want to hide something.
That's true. Maybe that's the plan here for Curse Academy, but we're going to have to see. Of course, Kassadin did go entirely through unpicked, unbanned. Tristana, of course, a good hover as well. Zig was a big driving force here for LoL Pro, and now double AD coming out for Curse Academy.
Yep. So Keen, I knew that he was playing a lot of AD mids like Talon, Zed, and Yasuo. He's also been playing things like Lucian mid and Tristana mid.
Yeah.
So according to my sources, Atlas and Spawn, they've been telling me that this has been going on. So thanks, you guys.
Yep. Big shout outs to every other caster who helps other casters out there, because there's too many games for all of us to watch. So adding information is always a wonderful thing. Thanks, guys, very much. Maokai does come through this. So LoL Pro have a gigantic tank line full of circles for ultimates.
Oh, it's the rings of death coming out here. Gets more rings, get a box.
Another circular ultimate. Please lock that in just to do it. Why not?
Okay, yeah, I guess it's circular.
I mean, it's like it's a pentagon, but
yeah.
I mean, it's, you know, it's close enough. It's not like I don't really have it. Oh, that's not a circle at all.
It's linear.
Man, that's just a buzzkill now.
Anyway.
I'm just sad. But yeah, Lucian coming through here. So interestingly, wants the Lucian versus Corki match, but still hiding the support. Again, makes sense for all the champions, though. You're trying to grab contested picks here, but Lucian's not contested anymore. So they're basically waiting on their mid lane and their support to see what else is coming out.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see a Thresh or a Braum, because they can keep the AD carry safe, and they're going to go with the Thresh here and the Kha'Zix. So you're going to want a very tanky top laner here.
Most likely, yeah, unless there's something I'm not seeing, but it's very squishy as a lineup. Of course, Dr. Muno could still be great for Chris here in the front lines. That could work just fine. LoL Pro now can show both, or I guess the rest of their solo lanes here. They know that it's mid lane Triss. They've done that for a while. They've shown the top lane Maokai, and yet Curse Academy did not want to counter pick. So all they really know is, here's the jungle, here's the bot lane matchup, now go pick stuff.
Yeah. So for Curse Academy's last pick, they may have to go with something either tanky, like I said, or they can go with something like a Lulu or a Gragas and get some magic damage in the top lane. Because a Lulu will make somebody tanky. It'll also bring AP damage. Because right now you have two massive tanks. Nunu with an attack speed slow as well.
Yep. And
the Maokai on this team with LoL Pro. They're both probably going to build something along the lines of Thornmail eventually. And this is all AD damage here on Curse Academy's side.
It really is. Muno going to be the hover. Good.
So they're going to go with
decent magic damage. Sort of repeatable source here to kind of back up Corki a little bit there. That's going to be available for them. Team LoL Pro, though, their late game is going to be a bit interesting, because Yasuo sometimes has problems with damage uptime just because he might have to kite back occasionally. And Lucia, not the biggest endgame hyper carry. So I want to see if LoL Pro can even kill Dr. Mundo in team fights.
Yeah, here's the thing though, is they went with the final pick here for Curse Academy being a tank who also does % HP magic damage, which is good against these big tanks who are going to be prioritizing armor as opposed to magic resistance. So that's a good pick up there for the Mundo top. They rounded out the composition for Curse Academy perfectly like textbook. Team LoL Pro though, the wind wall is something. The placement of the wind wall is something you're going to have to watch out for this for Lod, because he can snuff a lot of that damage and just completely negate it.
One thing to keep in mind as well is Lod can theoretically scale above the Mundo and be an unstoppable split pusher. Yasuo's really good at 1v1ing AD carries.
Here's the thing though, is it's really difficult to split push against a double AD comp because they run up to your turret as 4 men, and instead of like the normal, like, okay, we're kind of skittering around, maybe 1 attack, 2 attack, they walk up, boom, 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 and they chunk it down so quickly.
It really depends also on if you're going to face a double AD comp, what is there for defense, because like an Orianna can snuff AD carries because they're too afraid to siege against the Shockwave. Now, of course, not the case here for LoL Pro, so I agree with you that it is hard to leave your turrets undefended or even only moderately defended against that Curse Academy comp, so that the split push, you're right, might not even be a thing that matters here. For LoL Pro, we'll have to see if that pans out. Of course, the Yasuo vs Trist match also going to be a fun one to watch. Wind wall, as you mentioned, going to be a really big factor both in lane and the team fights.
It has a decent cooldown, though, so you'll have to use it around minion waves effectively. And also, the wave clear from LoL Pro isn't really that high, the ranged wave clear, because you basically have evolution. You know, he did get a buff to his piercing light, so he can clear minion waves a little better. But by the time those minions trickle in, you don't have something like a Syndra who's going to instant clear it, an Orianna, or a Ziggs. So you don't have that type of ranged magic damage wave clear in the mid lane. Yeah,
honestly, even the culling's not that great. Mundo just has to walk forwards and face tank the culling, and the minions don't go down. Maokai's not going to kill him very fast either. So I agree with you. Yeah, the siege is not easily stopped here from Curse Academy. It requires Yasuo being around to win wall turret damage.
Yeah. So these are all the hypothetical situations of what happens around turrets and win conditions there. But when you get into the actual game, maybe people go for Dragon. Maybe it's a 3-on-2. Different skirmishes happen and different rotations happen. So if they do get into those types of siege situations, I don't think that LoL Pro wants to stay in them. They're going to want to find the flank with Hanser and try to engage.
So we'll see if LoL Pro can find that. Hanser should be able to tank pretty well in this game, but we'll have to see. I think there's still a lot of pressure on Signature to continue his great performance from Game 1.
It's not a Trist mid, it's a Corki mid.
Okay.
With a flask.
Interesting. I'm trying to think if I like that more than Trist mid.
I want to see if he's AP or not. Click him! No.
I think it's unlikely.
I've seen it before. I actually ran into Skara in solo queue one time. I think he was doing AP Corki against me.
Interesting.
Ended up mid. It was like my first time Gragas.
Well, Corki should have around 64 AD, roughly, if he did go AD Corki. It'd be around 50 or 49 if he was AP. So at some point we'll see him and we'll get the answer on that one. But it's, again, likely AD Corki. There we go. 65 attack damage.
He's got 7 in his...
So 21 offense. He did get the AP mastery, but he's got attack damage runes.
Exactly. So it looks like he will go hybrid at the moment.
Keen could be 30 points offense. Or like 25 points offense, like an Akali. He's running hybrid pen marks as well. He has 6 magic.
It's interesting. I'm very interested to see what he will bring to this mid lane. It's a very different champion than what he was playing before, because he had that Orianna. And now he's sitting around with this Corki. It's actually pretty tricky too, because despite that, despite the double 80 carry lock-in, we see Lod still has magic resistance in his runes. He's at 42 right now, which means he's sitting on just a little bit. So he didn't get fooled by this if Keen was going to end up going AP.
Well, we're going to see what happens here, though. Looks like Bunny Fufu going to take plenty of damage down to this bottom lane. Potoy really wanted to bully him out.
Oh, Heaven Time going for, looks like a ward.
Okay.
No invade, though.
Yeah, not a big problem there. He's going to watch some of the jungle roots, though, of St. Vicious. Second time Kha'Zix for him. We're seeing this so far. Bot lane looking pretty all right so far for LoL Pro. Lucian Nami is going nicely. Heaven Time going to take his time, finally make his way up to the blue buff there. Wanted to make sure he had vision down before he really went for this blue, though.
He's going to run straight to it instead of going to his camp, so he will just hit level 2 off of this, just like Saint. Saint ran straight there.
Interesting choices here. Snake gonna grab the walls now for himself pretty securely. And we'll see as their builds start to diverge later on, likely Lizard Elder versus Golem Spirit. Also, I think first item Sightstone is probably the optimal build for a Nunu. So we might see that come out from him pretty shortly as well.
Yeah. Getting a Quill Coat is also pretty decent because it gives you a ward.
True.
But he will most likely get the Sightstone first. You know, they're kind of 6 one, half dozen the other, depending on how much vision you want and how much jungle clear kind of healthiness you want too. So back and forth.
One thing I do want to point out is Zig so far has perfect CS 3 waves in, which is actually very incredible. You're going to see 14 here for Tristana, which is a good mark, of course, as well. But so far, Zig has not missed a single minion. Here comes the Lantern gank, though. Good Bubble's going to stop some of this. Saint jumps on in. Now Patoy's got to be pretty scared for himself. Does get the hook after the flash. That's going to be a kill. Well done, Bunny Fufu. First blood goes Saint Vicious.
Bunny Fufu getting his Thresh. The fact that you give Bunny Fufu Thresh shouldn't be something you do. Bunny Fufu and Sheep are people that you need to take Thresh away from as soon as possible if you don't ban it.
The favorite thing about Bunny Fufu was an interview with I Will Dominate. He was like, yeah, Bunny's Thresh is so incredible. He is so good at the champion, he will tell you when to walk forward to gank, and you trust the Lanterns there in time.
Yeah, I remember that. I was like
it's a good freaking player.
That was an LCS segment.
Yep.
Very brief stint from Bunny Fufu as the support. Actually, wasn't that brief. He played
most of the split.
Like more than half, I think.
Yeah. Then they got X Special, and now Bunny Fufu's going to be back in before too long, potentially. He's 1 game away from being in the promo tournament, and we'll see what team they end up facing if this is the case here. Lod versus Keen in the mid lane, a little bit in the advantage of Keen now. Looks like Corki doing a little bit better than Orianna was in the matchup. But yeah, here comes the Nunu. Problem is Ice Blast doesn't do much to Valkyrie, so really there's, I mean, aside from the giant like 22-second cooldown, there's not really much lost here for Keen.
No, but in this bot lane, they're going to go aggressive again. That was a cool little wave. It jumped up to the sky and whoo, spiked it.
Yep, it was like a check mark.
Upside down check mark. It was like whoop.
Yep, why not? It was like a carrot, you know, shift 6.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah. Well, of course, Bunny Fufu would have a carrot above his head.
Nice.
Got him.
You're so proud of yourself.
I was like, hey, that wasn't too bad. Saint Vicious walking through a friendly pink ward, though. Did get spotted by the earlier ward that Nunu would put down, though, from way back when at level 2. So Saint, this invade is somewhat well known.
And the ward expires, so they know that he's in the jungle. They saw that he had a ward in his inventory when he left, and it's not there anymore. So where is it?
Well, good play from Saint, though, is going to get ward coverage to watch Nunu's gank pass. They know he is upper as opposed to lower jungle at this point. And will he be able to tilt the top lane matchup? I kind of don't expect so. Nunu ganking for those two champions.
Wrapping around again on the Keen. He's going to go get a jungle camp for himself.
Ward and counter jungle. He's got the Quill Coat and the ward he bought.
Oh, he already jungled.
That's already been counter jungled.
He's going for Keen now.
Keen's level 6 though. Again, he's got Valkyrie, so like
again, it
doesn't matter, right? Like you picked a completely low pressure jungler to try to save a mid lane matchup. You're not going to save it.
Yeah, the gank assistance is just very non-existent from Lod as a champion on Yasuo early, and on Nunu, you can't really set it up either.
What it does do, though, to be completely fair, is it forces Keen to play passive for 30 seconds as Valkyrie comes back up. So it gives Lod time to free farm without any pressure. Good hook onto Patoy. He's going to go in for this one, but it's going to be 3-on-3 as Nunu and Kha'Zix show up. Great play onto Zig. He's still trying to run away. Summoner heal popped as well.
Heaventime trying to get in.
Very low on health, though. Ice Blast comes in to slow him down. Heaventime gets the Nami buff as well for more slow. Zig keeps chasing. Nice play from Bunny Fufu to save the team, and that will be a disengage on all sides.
Just a back and forth. They all take about half of their HP down. And it's going to be a little bit of a push here for LoL Pro.
All right, looks like life remains safe, and Impactful has actually tied the CS back up 43-44 right here. So well done by this Tristana to catch back up in this lane. Chris and Hans are still in a battle. Looks like Chris having, honestly, I don't know, the same time of it really. Neither have back just yet. Pretty much the same CS, so they're just treading water here as tanks.
Impactful actually went for the Aberys blade first, so he's going to be a little less powerful. He's not going to have the pickaxe spike for himself. He's not going to have the BF sword for a good while. Might be first item static shiv immediately.
That seems like what it's going to be. It's interesting because it does hurt your trading power, and with something like Nami, you can actually force battles fairly easily, just because dashing in plus Tidy Claw's Blessing is so darn good. But, you know, Impactful think it's going to work out for him.
First back of the game for Keen here in the mid lane. Up
Probably
about 10 CS.
Yep.
For Lod.
Blast charges. Phage, only Amp Tome and some potions.
So he goes for the Amp Tome as opposed for the Crystal.
Well, the thing is he's got mana from the flask, so I get it.
That's exactly what he wants for himself. He'll have that little extra damage on his Phosphorus Bomb and his ultimate.
Also keep in mind, by getting blue buff as a mid laner, he's likely to get more rockets out. So yeah, even less reason to have mana, more reason to have damage in your spells you can spam.
Exactly, and Bunny Fufu, he's looking for the hooks here. Because this is very... It's funny, because they're getting pushed out, but they're still looking for those moments of aggression. Curse Academy's side. They aren't being overly aggressive, they aren't trying to force things, they're just biding their time and waiting for the opportunity to present itself. Because level 6s will hit here very shortly for this bot lane. A couple of waves.
That could be plenty explosive. There we go, blue buff over to Keen, 8 minutes 40 seconds. Level 6 for St. Vicious on all this. Involves his W again. And now let's see what we get in this matchup here. So far we have not seen a ton of gank pressure, a couple good ganks from Saint, but Heaven Time otherwise trying to play the ward game. Because he's going to walk right back into this pink ward and say, hey, you just spent 100 gold. Let me kill that for you. One of the shortest lived pink wards I've ever seen. And it goes down. So, Heaven Time now going to try to continue control of this upper jungle. Once again, always counter jungles that big Wraith, always keeps a ward in that brush. That's kind of where he's been the entire time.
Yeah, but while he's counter jungling, we see in the bot lane, St. Vicious just wasting his time again. Sitting around, and they aren't going to waste any time here. Actually, they're going to go straight for this dragon.
Wow, bot lane pushed out. They feel pretty safe. Maokai just chilling top lane.
Or is it just a 4-man mid?
Heaven Time's got to be a bit careful. There's a jump on in. Good slows coming out. Flash already turned though. And in comes Keen. In comes a whole lot of damage, and Heaven Time is going to go down to impactful. Wrong place, wrong time.
It's the exact reason that you level up those spikes. The 50% slow is huge. The fact that you slow somebody's movement speed completely in half means they're sitting at about maybe 150-ish, right? 160.
Yeah, I want to think it's about 200 when that happens.
Yeah, they'll cover about, and since it's 2 seconds, they'll cover about 200 to 300 less units in the distance.
Yeah.
Which means that you basically added that onto your entire team. If you think of it that way, because people evolve the wings to get about, I think it's 300. I think it goes from 600 to 900 range.
I think so. I don't actually know that one.
Yeah. So you end up basically getting the same return, but it's AoE.
True.
And it gives vision.
Yeah, it basically catches your team up instead. So
exactly.
Right now, Law Pro, they do roam up with Laud, but Chris is able to get back away so safely. Think about last time we had Keen roam top lane. They got a kill onto the turret, and it tilted the matchup immediately. In this case, Laud shows up, wastes time, misses a minion wave onto the turret, and Keen's like, why'd you leave my lane, bro?
Shouldn't have gone. Keen is at 101 CS at 10 minutes and 40 seconds.
Doing pretty well for himself. He hasn't even been taxing jungle camps that much. He's actually been stolen mostly by Heaven Time here, so pretty remarkable performance there. Dragon, of course, went to Curse Academy as well on top of that 2 kills, and it's the same thing as last time. They are playing very well individually. They are controlling the map and playing a patient game.
Yeah, not as explosive as the last game that we saw.
True.
A little more calculated here from Curse Academy. Because there's a Nunu on the map, you can't really make too many aggressive moves early because he counter jungles, he'll show up, he'll stop fights happening. He kind of comes in as a big brother and he's like, no, stop this. You stop it. I don't care who shot first. I'm ending it.
Ending it. And you know what?
He hit me. No. You're better than that.
Wow.
That's exactly what happens too. Nunu walks in, he's kind of the party pooper.
Nunu the party pooper. Chris and Hanser, though, in a battle in the top lane. Chris regenning up. Hanser not taking much damage from the ultimate. And they end both low on health as they regenerate back up some more.
Saint's here, though, and there is no ward to see this. And it does have his ultimate, so he'll be able to close this distance.
Hanser's about to be pretty sad. Pops the root, tries to get some damage back down. Saint jumps on in, flashes, cleaver's going to land. That's going to be the damage. Saint Vicious now 2-0 and 100% kill participation.
This Kha'Zix's right up his alley in terms of champions. And what he wants to do with it in the early game is just cause this pressure, and it's working out perfectly. Heaven Time, in the meantime, he hasn't been getting any ganks off. Look at this, another Valkyrie away from Keen. It's just not working. It's the definition of insanity.
Yeah, it really is. And again, Nunu's is like pressure jungle. You show up to get objectives done, but really nothing's happening when he shows up in these lanes. So just a pretty unfortunate game so far from Heaven Time. The Nunu really is not working out so far.
Yeah, the thing with Nunu is you have to get yourself ahead off of jungle early, but we'll talk about that in a second.
Hook from Bunny Fufu forces the
right
blast out from Zig. Nice bubble onto Impactful, but the exhaust on Zig is going to let them chase a little bit longer. Impactful takes even more damage. Throwing heals popped on both sides. In come the TPs. Good knockback as well. One hit from Dead, and that will be the kill picked up by Maokai. But Bunny Fufu was already taking down the enemy AD carry.
It's
Bubble
Nunu the party
onto Chris.
pooper.
Nunu trying to party poop as well. Ulti is popped there. Chris does not have flash. He does take a lot of slows, but he has a lot of health as well. Now, can they actually take him down, though? Lantern comes across. Chris just cannot go down with the 80 carry dead. Hook on a Hanser. Looks like Bunny Fufu is not dead, but maybe
Saint's here.
He should be. Backed away from that one.
Saint comes back up. Lod stopped his roam because Keen was continuing to pressure that mid lane. He's out of mana. So Lod opts to stay and try to force him back instead.
So Keen will be recalling this one, and a couple of minions will go over to Lod for this one, but right now, Curse Academy is still just making better choices. They're up 3,000 gold.
Yeah, and like I was saying, with Nunu, you need to take an early game lead, maybe get a buff, get a second rotation buff off of them, ward up the jungle, use your Sightstone and Cool Code effectively, and steal stuff from the enemy jungler. Keep him down. St. Vicious is not staying down, or even, he wasn't down to begin with. When you run around and waste time in the lanes, that tips off Saint, I can go gank elsewhere. Complete opposite of you, and be successful. With Nunu, you have to get ahead, stay ahead, get dragons. When you end up this far behind, it's only 2,000 gold, but it's 10% of the gold of Curse Academy that LoL Pro is behind.
Yeah.
So when you don't get these dragons, you lose a lot of the power and the whole idea of what Nunu is. It's kind of like, I have Corki, and I'm not going to lane bully you.
Yeah, exactly. It really just removes the edge he's supposed to have from being this champion, and so far it is completely not working. He's got the early Sightstone, the early Quill Coat, he's trying to get wards down, and yet Saint still has 3 kills and assists. Like, nothing's working according to plan here for LoL Pro. What they do have is some team fight power. They've still got Maokai Yasuo. This could be really good. Yeah. Problem is they're being held down on all their one-on-ones.
And like what I'm talking about, what you can do is instead of those ganks where he comes around middle with the Valkyrie, instead use your time to go deep into Saint's jungle, ward it up, light it up like a Christmas tree. See all of Saint's movements, put 2 wards around on his left side, go to the right side, put 1 there. You know, keep tabs on him, because this guy is 2-0-1, 75% kill participation in this game, and this map is completely dark, even though there's 2 Sightstones.
That's true. I don't know how you have that few wards on double Sightstone, but it's the case right now for LoL Pro. They're pushed in, unable to make plays. Hansen now in a really bad spot against Chris right here. Does feel up with the auto attacks, but he's pretty close to going down here. Forced to back away, does not have flash or TP. Looks like Lod can't make the roam top lane either, so once again, Saint shows up, Keen shoves in, and Lod has to just slowly try to lick his wounds and get some gold back in this lane. Bunny Fufu here to make plays for
they found him though.
Yeah, but Heaven Time spots him, so at least that's not going to happen for LoL Pro. But still, Curse Academy, every single time I look at the screen, something good's going on. Something good is going on for them.
Yeah, they're always doing something beneficial to the team. Yeah. They always have very purposeful movement around the map. And when you can to see the difference in purposeful movement, it's kind of like when you see St. Vicious move around the map compared to when Heaven Time moves and when Lod moves. Lod has been moving halfway up a lane, and then Keen's like, I'm just going to fast shove it. And then he's forced back. Or the position up top doesn't go the way that he thought it was going to go. So that's actually communication breakdown on the team, saying like, I'm not going to win this matchup, or I am going to win this matchup. I don't need you. So Lod wastes a lot of his time, where he could be doing even a jungle camp to benefit himself.
Yeah, get more farm. I mean, it's been a relatively passive mid lane where no kills are clearly happening, but you have time to get some gold in. It's not like Nunu Jungle wants to kill his Wraith camp over and over again. He's actually bad at killing Wraiths, so there's a lot of gold available for him. Heaven Time gonna have to flash away from the hook, and St. Vicious, Impactful, and Co. already here to take this one down.
It's gonna be a 5-on-5, but right now at this point in time, Curse Academy, they have that edge. The static shiv is completed, and the Trinity Force as well. Oh, he's gonna bring him all the way in.
Wow, Hanser pulled in on the Lantern, half HP, but the knockup is there onto Chris and Keen. Can they get the kills? The tidal wave misses entirely, but another double bubble means that St. Vicious goes down. 1-for-0. Can LoL Pro do any more? Another route, and Keen will fall. Double kill for the Maokai. Now Impactful, trying to take out Hanser. Can he do so with the explosive shot? They are trying, but looks like he will live. Now Zig goes in, a beautiful play in from Bunny Fufu, and the Lantern. The briefcase going to pick up 1 kill. Now the chase on towards Heaven Time. This Nunu gets flayed another time, and that will be a 2-for-2 actually, as another kill goes down to Impactful. Chases in towards Lod. Winwell keeps him safe, but that kill started so well and got turned back for Curse Academy.
Ended up being a 2-for-3 in the overall in favor of Curse Academy.
It was 2-for-2 overall. It's 4-1 before this. Or was I wrong?
Maybe you're right.
You're
probably right.
Maybe
It was probably 2-for-2. I did see flashing Hellfire because what's his name? Hanser did make it out of this. Big thing here, you got the frontliner all the way into the back line of Curse Academy. Hanser made it all the way to that back line. He gets Keen here, blows him up, and is able to flash away just in time. But everybody is so low, and they stick around. Signature gets hooked, and he gets dropped immediately after this. Hit by a nice briefcase, and yeah, it is a 2-for-2 in the overall.
Yeah, Bunny Fufu did really, really well this fight, though. Great hooks, great plays overall. Look at that. He knows when he's going down and looks for another pick, just can't quite get it.
really barely escapes here from LoL Pro. If there was a red buff on the Tristana, it would have been completely over, but that's a late game situation.
I mean, and to be fair though as well, like if it weren't for those hooks from Bunny, that was a 2-0 clean. Like we can't count LoL Pro out. We're singing Curse Academy's praises, but those fights are going well. Honestly, the Yasuo ultis are hitting good targets. Keen is getting killed early in these fights.
Yeah, the big thing there was the twisted advance onto the Lantern all the way to the back line, because that's going to deliver you at least on 2 people. Because if that Mundo took a Lantern, he's going to be on top of a Thresh. He uses his Arcane Smash, and they get the knock-up, they get the last breath, and then they get Keen right afterwards with another Twisted Advance and Exhaust. So if you get your backline, these heavy tanks of LoL Pro, onto your AD carries, it's going to spell disaster for them, for Curse Academy. Yeah.
Well, LoL Pro certainly team fighting fairly well. The Maokai Nunu Yasuo is working pretty nicely, so that's good news.
You did see, though, the lack of damage, though, on LoL Pro.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is very melee-oriented against this composition that's very range-oriented from Curse Academy. Because Lucian, very low range. Then you have Yasuo, melee range. The big portions of their damage are low range.
Yeah.
Whereas Curse Academy all has pretty much long-range damage. Even Mundo does a lot of damage.
Speaking of long-range damage, a beautiful hook into a Lantern from Bunny Fufu. Impactful takes the bubble. The knock as well from Patoy. That will not be a kill onto Zig, but it is still a team forced away, and Curse Academy could take maybe Dragon off this.
Yeah, Hauntzer's actually very low up top as well. And now they're going to go straight for this Dragon here for Curse Academy at Heaventime. He's looking to possibly get in there, but he's being zoned.
That's pretty risky. Bubble's going to hit Bunny and Fufu, but it looks like this Dragon's going to go down way too quickly. St. Vicious gets that with the smite. St. Vicious going to get hit up there. There's the knock-up kill by Lot, and so far a 1-for-1 as Saint and Nunu both drop down. Both junglers gone. Knock-up will not land. The Dragon still went to Curse Academy.
And it is a 1-for-1. Both junglers end up dying, but this top lane turret, Chris does not TP into the fight. Instead, he opts for that extra gold for his team.
Ooh. Okay, a lot of safe there. Bubble's gonna land, but it's not enough there. Blue buff goes to Haunser, and that means Dragon and top lane outer went to Curse Academy, everything else being equal.
Blue is also gonna go over to Chris here.
Yeah.
He's going to be able to counter this. It isn't actually a huge deal. It's a little extra experience for him, and the cooldown reduction, but Blue on Yasuo is pretty much irrelevant. Yeah. I think he's probably the worst mid laner to have a Blue on.
He might be literally the worst champion to have Blue.
I think he is.
Max CDR Vlad would be worse.
Yeah. If you already have max CDR, then it's probably terrible on you.
Yeah.
And you
like
have
Spirit,
no
Visage, Will, the Ancients, some Runes, and Masteries could do it.
I would say, like, mid-game, Yasuo is the worst champion to have a Blue on.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree in the slightest.
He doesn't get cooldown reduction on his Q at all, and his E has already a really low cooldown.
Yeah, and I mean the major timeout is the stack anyway, which isn't affected by CDR either. So, yeah, Lot not exactly needing a blue buff here.
Today you learned.
True. Bunny Fufu, get him! That cannon. Yeah.
Boom.
Oh, casters. Oh, one more.
Nope.
Whatever. Left hitting caster sucks anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
I just feel bad. It could have been other gold. Could have been more gold somewhere else. St. Vicious, though, making his way to the south side. 5,000 gold puts Curse Academy ahead in this game, too. If they win, they go into the finals and they make the promo tournament. A game these guys pretty much want to win here.
Pretty much.
I feel like it's good for them.
I feel like you would want to win here because you don't want to have to play in the 3rd, 4th place match and then have all this pressure on you again. And you will have to face either Team 8 or Coast. We'll see who ends up
Both good
there.
teams.
Later on today. But right now, these items between these AD carries and the tank stats on LoL Pro, nobody's really gotten any armor just yet because Hauntzer's still counter-building Chris.
Yeah, he's trying to take up the magic damage, but that's only in his own lane. Chris takes a bunch of damage, but ults for himself should be just fine. Now, Heaventime in a bad spot. Hook does not land from Bunny Fufu.
Oh, they're going after Chris in the top lane. They lose the bot lane turret in the meantime, though.
I don't know if this is even good for LoL Pro, though, because bot lane's still getting pushed up. St. Vicious counter juggling as well as Tristana keeps pushing.
It's another roam from Lod that is ineffective.
Yeah. He's not found his way in on this game. It's just been team fights that have gone well, which, to be fair, is a good thing to have. But now Impactful wants to go in. He's got Bunny Fufu as well for the Lantern for the teammate. Flash still gets played, and Signature is going to be going down. All Summoners gone. That is a 2-for-0 as Nunu showed up as well. Bot lane tier 2 going to drop shortly.
So we talked a lot about how good Keen looked last game, but what's his impact this game? We'll have to see.
Well, right now the engage comes off exhausted. A lot of people. Hanser right now taking that one. Impactful off in the wings now. Knockouts come through. So far, St. Vicious goes down. Keen will drop as well. They might have overextended as a 3v4, but it's still going quite nicely now. And out goes Impactful. He will survive the red buff. One more death had come through, though, in LoL Pro. Squeak by a little bit better. Chris running away has the lantern. He'll be safe. Overall, that is a 2-for-1, actually. No, 3-for-2, I believe. Curse Academy in the long run.
Yeah. Signature and Heaven Time, I believe, went down that fight too. And yeah, I was talking about Keen's contributions 0, 2, and 4, and we've been talking about Lod's movements across the map, but the thing is that Keen has not been moving out of that mid lane, and it's really impactful. That's the big source of damage here. Perfect flash play at the same time that Signature flashed. And now Impactful here, he's just dishing out a ton of damage. He has some item spikes in his favor, but then Lod comes straight in here, off of Hanser, setting up the last breath onto Impactful. They almost get him, but Lod ends up dying off the re-engage. They kill Saint, they kill Keen, and then Lod actually walks towards Impactful to try and get extra damage off. He's rooted here, and then he gets out off of that reset.
Wow. But you saw how scary Hanser was, though. He was the guy with all 3 kills in the team leading into this engagement. Now he's 4-1-2. This game is pretty much on the LoL Pro top laner to carry against the back line. Gonna try it again. He's got a red buff. He's fighting Impactful, doing plenty of damage. Ulti pop, very low HP. One more root could get the kill, but now Heaven Time shows up. Impactful's already lost his Buster Shot. He's already lost Rocket Jump. There's the Ice Blast, but here comes St. Vicious. Ulti pop, Shutdown comes in, but Heaven Time's gonna fall, and there's gonna be a reset for St. Vicious. Now can he pick up Hanser? Nice knockback, but there's the jump on in. There's the Q. Can he get it? Bubble comes in. Potoy lands the heal. Now Saint's gotta be pretty careful. This one Pink Ward used to make sure he can't get out, but the hook is gonna mean the kill. Shutdown for St. Vicious, 5, 3, and 4.
The lantern hook was ridiculous from Bunny Fufu there. Wow, so coming up really big, joining these fights. The supports know where to be on this map when the action is around. They know their role, and I'm absolutely loving this game in this entire series.
This one's really fun, man. The fights are going back and forth. It is still Curse Academy holding the lead, but they're good battles to watch all the same.
Bunny Fufu has a Zeke's Herald to help out his AD carries.
Even Kha'Zix cares about this.
Yeah.
Like, that's the right item to buy.
Giving them that AD and the lifesteal, I believe.
Well, yeah, it's 20 attack damage, I believe. It's 10 or 20 attack damage and 10% lifesteal. And what I really like about this as well is lifesteal items are technically DPS inefficient because you're obviously paying for the lifesteal. So if you don't have to buy a Vamp Scepter, such as what Keen's doing right here, it actually gives you basically more DPS overall because you have to buy that stuff. Heaven Time getting pushed around, though. Impactful, plenty of damage.
Impactful is the main source of damage on this team from Curse Academy. If they can blow him up with the last breath and get Hanser into that back line, he'll get a lot of momentum in these team fights for LoL Pro. Hanser's still pushing, though.
Well, we're right about to see the mid lane outer turret go down, making that the 3rd for Curse Academy. They've still not given up a turret all game long, though the team fights are fairly close. Windwall just requires Impactful to move a little bit. That's going to go down pretty cleanly. Academy now up 8,000 gold as this game moves forward to a live Dragon.
Yep, Dragon is up. Hanser, he's been trying to clear these waves. He wants to get his Frozen Heart as fast as possible after his Spectre's Cowl and his Rod of Ages, because he needs that to slow down the attack speed of First Academy. But it's not going to be up just yet. He's into this back line, though.
Well, there's the engage. Hanser up in the front, and against the damage going to be enough. Looks like the hook is not going to land against the wind wall, and that will actually be a Dragon picked up by the Nunu of Heaven Time from LoL Pro. Now, can the briefcases slow down LoL Pro enough to make this chase happen? But Toy does get hit up. There's a W, absolute 0 used from the brush to try to slow down the chase. Heaven Time
one person
is basically going to die right here unless he can make some really fancy moves. That will be Keen picking up the kill, and Curse Academy land the briefcase onto Hanser. Great double bubble. Hook's going to miss as well, and Lod has a knockup if he wants to stop the team. Looks like they might go back in onto Chris. Not just yet, though. Just some poke for now. And mid lane now under fire as well.
Yeah, they killed the jungler, so is Curse Academy going to go straight for a Baron call?
Wow, they're looking at it. They're trying to take this out as fast as possible, but keep in mind, Last Breath is still there, as is Hanser with the Q.
Well, Hanser's not there yet.
Slow chase, though. Bunny Fufu zoning out the team, and Baron already goes down. The hook from Fog of War. Lot is going to die for this one right now. That is a 2 for 0, plus now a Baron. Curse Academy well in the lead. Hanser hooked in. That is another kill picked up.
And it looks like this game is really about Bunny Fufu's hooks. St. Vicious in the early game setting up the ganks. But man, every game you give Bunny Fufu Thresh, it's about Bunny Fufu.
And you're seeing it right now. Hopping through the forest, bopping everybody from LoL Pro on the head. And you gotta really run back to your base and hide when that happens. Zig will grab a red buff, but Curse Academy now ready to go in for the inhibitor. Turret goes down, inhib itself will fall shortly. We're only 28 minutes in, and Curse Academy are 11,000 gold up.
Yeah, they're treating LoL Pro like they're field mice.
Yep.
11,000 gold, 28 minutes in. Signature, he may even get spotted here. You never know.
Nope.
Nope.
It's good. Looked peaceful in that brush. He's like, no, they're not going to get me.
Very serene.
Yep.
Very peaceful. And there goes the turret.
Well, things dying once more. Bombs, smites, rockets, people on fire. I don't even know what Burning Agony is necessarily for Chris. He just says, there's fire around me, deal with it.
You don't need to question everything.
It's him being mad. He is the madman of Zon, so.
Yeah, well, it's Burning Agony, so I assume he's in pain.
Yep.
And his body temperature just rises to extreme numbers.
Oh.
So everything else around
he
him
bursts into flame.
Yeah.
And why does Sunfire Cape work on him?
Because it doesn't work on him. It gives him stuff, but it burns other people. It just adds to it.
Multiple fires.
Exactly.
Great.
Heard you like fire.
Yep. Speaking of, you're fired. No. Lot and impactful. How dare you talk back to me, Zirene? That is unacceptable on the
He just
challenge.
crit for 666. This is getting really eerie.
Well, impactful's in a good spot though. Only level 14 though. 1 plus 4 does not equal 6.
Whew, we're safe. We're out of the woods.
We're good. We're good, guys.
At the same time, though, you know who is out of the woods is Lot. He's all the way back at his base.
It's true. It's much less forested. However, you're going to see Curse Academy make their way up the top lane right now.
Meanwhile,
Baron buff.
Chris is going to push this bottom lane. Hanser, he's going to get spotted, though. And that's the benefit of evolving to double. Just once again. Oh, looking for the flank here from the Nunu.
Zig clears the wards.
Walking straight up.
From the wings. Slow on a Bunny Fufu. Could this be the fight? They already forced a TP out of Chris. The battle begins. Lod's got to be careful though. Absolute zero pop on Lot is basically dead. Pop shield onto many people. Bunny Fufu and Saint go down. Chris diving in the back line, but here is Hanser trying to kill the AD carries. Lucian already drops. So does the Maokai. The double AD comp working there. Chris wants Lod. Can he get him? Looks like yes, the fire is going to work, but Toy and Heaven Time nearly dead as well. Chris underneath the turret, making it all happen. That is an ace for Curse Academy. They can dive right into the base now.
They're going to go straight for the throat and end this game here, Phreak. They went straight for that back line, but the teleport from Chris set them up perfectly. It's going to be 2-0 here.
It's going to be 2-0, 30-minute games roughly in both of these. Curse Academy are in the spring promotion tournament in about a month's time, and they're going to be a surrender there from LoL Pro. Congratulations for the 2-0 Curse Academy.
Amazing performance there. We saw Hanser try to go for that back line. He zoned the 80 carries, and Lod got a fantastic last breath, blowing up 2 members, St. Vicious, and then I think Bunny as well. But the fact that Chris had built so much resistance in terms of armor in the Thornmail, he's just zoning that back line, and he was able to come up bigger than Hanser was in that 2-on-1.
Yeah, Chris just honestly had a really, really great game, and the fact that he could just not be dealt with by Yasuo Lucian. It's not a surprise. Those champions are not going to break down a solo Mundo who's not been held down at all.
Yeah, 406.
Right.
Not even killed.
Yeah, he did great. Spirit Visage, Ninja Tabby, a very smart choice. And the Warmugs and a Thornmail, even a Giant Spell for the Randuins later on. He was an unkillable tank who's got great base damages that can kill these squishies. Now, Heaven Times Nunu wasn't a fan. Ganks did not seem to work at all. He showed up mid lane and got Valkyrie'd away from him. It didn't even matter.
Yeah, 1, 7, and 6. A 1.0 KDA, we always talk about KDAs.
Yeah.
And that really shows and speaks to it because he had really, really low gold in that game. He had about 7,000 gold. And Patoy at 6.3, 700 gold less on the support for himself. And the next highest member is about 2.7k above him.
Yeah.
So the fact that he's that low as a jungler means his contribution to fights was very low. He didn't get early game ganks off. And that the fact that he also... bless you, sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good.
I was speaking, I was like, oh.
No, you're more important than me.
Anyway, the fact that he wasn't getting these early game ganks off was really, really big, and they wanted to keep Keen down, right? I mean, granted, they did do that a little bit because he had to play more passive, and he wasn't as explosive, but he was on a Corki. I don't see Corki as a really big playmaker at any point in the game.
Not really.
You know, Tristana's going to make better plays. Orianna's going to make better plays. If he's playing Yasuo, it's more flashy. Zed's going to dive backline. Corki's kind of like, I'm going to do persistent, sustained damage in a team fight.
He's a good mid-game team fighter, basically. And he's got a good laning phase.
Yeah, but Impactful got really far ahead, 7-2 and 9 for himself, and just blew that game wide open with his Tristana damage.
Yeah, and that's the thing is Impactful now has been great both games here. Zig was very good in Game 1, had a harder time here in Game 2. I still think, for what it's worth, since LoL Pro are still in this tournament, they'll be playing the third place match tomorrow. They're still a good team, and I think they can still rely on that bot lane. I don't like having times Nunu. Find something else, or at least find a new way to play it.
Nunu lost.
Yeah, Nunu lost. And honestly, again, it was an unimpressive Nunu performance, unfortunately. Lod's Yasuo, yes, it's very good. Obviously, Keen is a better player, and that's, I don't think, really a surprise to many people, but Keen is certainly scary, replacing ManCloud in this roster and doing a great job. That addition makes Curse Academy much scarier, and we're going to see who they face in the finals in a little bit. It's going to be a good match, though. We've got more games, by the way. Our first semifinal match is completed. Let's check out the updated bracket. With their victory, Curse Academy, yes, they clinch a spot in the 2015 Spring Promo Tournament, and they're going to advance to the finals on Sunday. They will face the winner of today's next match.
And even though Team LoL Pro has fallen today, they have one final shot at making it to the Spring Promotion Tournament. But to do that, they must win in the third place match tomorrow.
So today's other semifinal series kicks off right after this short break. It's another best-of-3 showdown with Team Coast facing off against Team 8. Don't close that browser. We'll be right back. The knockup is there onto Chris and Keen. Can they get the kills? The tidal wave misses entirely, but another double bubble means that St. Vicious goes down. But now Impactful wants to go in. He's got Bunny Fufu as well for the lantern for the teammate. Flash still gets played, and Signature is going to be going down. The engage comes off exhausted. A lot of people, Hansa right now taking that one. Impactful off in the wings now. Knockups come through. So far, St. Vicious goes down. Keen will drop as well. Lod's got to be careful though. Absolute zero pop on Lod is basically dead. Pop's killed down to many people. Bunny Fufu and Saint go down. Chris wants Lod. Can he get him? Looks like yes, the fire is going to work, but Toy and Heaventime nearly dead as well. Chris underneath the turret.